ancient geological deposits deteriorating and undermining the layers of bedrock deep down, way below the surface. Nothing that couldn't be fixed, given the right amount of money. But money was scarce in those parts, so the local Department of Roads and Bridges had just thrown up a couple of warning signs. They didn't help to keep vehicles from crashing, but the county lawyers said they might keep the department from getting sued in the aftermath. An SUV had crashed there a little earlier that day, a Lincoln Navigator. It had left the road, clipped a tree, rolled 3 times, and come to rest back on its wheels. Its roof was caved in, its hood was dented, its doors were bent and twisted, and all its windows were starred and opaque. Vidic had watched the accident unfold. He'd had no alternative because he had been following, driving fast and sticking close behind. He had mashed his brakes the moment the Lincoln lost control and had skidded to a stop while the other vehicle was still moving. Then he had jumped out and crept closer to the wreck, sniffing the air for gasoline fumes and straining his ears for any hint of fuel dripping from a fractured line or cracked tank. The Lincoln had wound up in bad shape, but its driver had come out even worse. He was dead. His neck was broken. There was no doubt about that. Vidic had smiled when he saw what had happened. It wasn't the outcome he'd expected, but it was one he could use. More than that, it was like the answer to a prayer. An echo from his childhood floated into his head. God helps those who help themselves. His grin grew wider. Then he turned his attention to the passenger. At first, Vidic thought the guy was bound for the morgue, too. But when he checked, he felt a pulse. So he adjusted his diagnosis. The guy just had a concussion and a broken wrist. Judging by the sharp edge of the bone he could see jutting out beneath his skin. The guy's size had saved him. He looked huge. Comfortably 6'5", even slumped against the door, easily 250 pounds, and all bone and muscle, no fat. Vidic had called a couple of guys for help, and while he waited for them to arrive, he had hauled the driver and the passenger out of the wreckage. That wasn't easy. The driver's head was flopping around all over the place, and his body was slack and soft and difficult to grip. The passenger was worse because of his size and shape. His arms were bigger than the driver's legs. His wrists were too broad for Vidic to wrap his fingers around. Vidic was out of breath and sweating, despite the cool air, when he heard wheels on the asphalt behind him, and he only just had time to finish rifling the passenger's pockets and transferring the few possessions he found there to his own. The new guys had shown up in a Ford pickup truck, which turned out to be a practical choice. There was no way they'd have been able to manhandle the passenger's unconscious body onto the back seat of a regular car. It was too big, too awkward. They wouldn't have had enough room to maneuver. So the 3 of them heaved him up onto the load bed and tossed the driver's corpse in next to him. The guy who had been driving the pickup was called Darren Fletcher. He was a couple of inches taller than Vidic, but slimmer and maybe 20 pounds lighter. He slammed the tailgate into place, then turned to Vidic and said, "You saw it happen?" Vidic nodded. "When you called and said it was Gibson's Lincoln, I was hoping you were wrong." "Have you ever known me to be wrong?" Fletcher grunted and said, "Walk me through it." Vidic shrugged. "Gibson was driving pretty slow, pretty careful. I caught up to him by chance. I was heading back to base. Guess he was too. He kept going the same speed for maybe a mile, his usual steady-eddy self. Then he must have seen my car. Seen it, but not realized it was mine because all of a sudden he tried to lose me. He hit the gas, but at exactly the wrong time." Vidic nodded at the wrecked vehicle. "As you can see, Exhibit A. Did you flash your lights, honk your horn, make it look like you were up for a race?" "No. Why would I? I'm not 16. So why did he try to lose you, or whoever he thought you were?" Vidic shrugged again.